And joining us to talk about the 2022 Diaspora Day is former chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Europe, Nweke. He joins us via Skype. Good to have you join us.
Thank you, Precious, for having me. Happy Diaspora Day.
I was going to say that as well. Happy Diaspora Day to you. But I think this is the third one. It started in 2019. I know the day was set aside in 2019. So I'm assuming that 2019, 2020, 2020, this should be the fourth one. I'm just counting now. But talk to us about the impact this has had in terms of that diaspora, Nigeria, or home country relations.
Well, a very tiny point of correction. Nigerian Diaspora Day has actually been on for as far back as 2006. So you see, at the initial stage, it was actually pretty regular, which means that Nigeria actually maintained the date religiously and actually celebrated it as a permanent feature of Nigeria's political calendar. But over the last several years, it has actually been skipped a number of times. And of course, the COVID-19 that you referenced in 2019, 2021 didn't do it any good. So there was a massive interruption. Now, coming to your question as regards, what the impact has been. The impact had been huge from the beginning in terms of, Nigerian diaspora using the opportunity actually to, do this annual pilgrimage back to Nigeria, coming back home with, projects, coming back home with a number of skills, human capital. Somehow they're gone ahead to, stay on after their visit to Nigeria as a consequence of the Diaspora Day, either to work in government or to work in the private sector. Headhunters from Nigeria have used the opportunity to come to Abuja on the 25th of July every year to interact with the diaspora and, manage to find them skills that they need to grow their businesses that they don't immediately find in Nigeria. I mean, not to talk of, foreign direct investment that Nigerian diaspora coordinated by NIDO, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, have managed to actually bring with them as part of the Diaspora Day, where they bring their business associates and partners to assess things on the ground by themselves, meet government officials, and then make a determination as to whether they want to invest in Nigeria or not. And most of the time, they do invest. Finally, in terms of the impact, I have to say that at the time that Ambassador Nweke, she was coordinating the Diaspora Day, first as the permanent secretary at the office of the secretary to the government of the federation, and later as cabinet secretary, he actually ensured that there was this linkage with the with technology. So Nigerian department or ministry in charge of technology worked very closely with Diaspora Day to ensure that there was a specific focus on technology being what Nigeria requires, and Nigerians in diaspora having technology experts in quantum in the diaspora. So we saw
I'm sorry, I have to jump in because I have very few minutes, and I want to be sure that I can touch on very key issues before we have to go. But yes. And I'm sorry I missed up the date earlier. I'm sure it's because it's not a public holiday. Once it becomes a public holiday, I'm sure that I will take note of it as much as I should. But let me ask you about issues around the gaps, because we know that the diaspora community in Europe is one of the most active. But what are the gaps that are still existing in terms of the relations between home country and the diaspora?
The major gap is a lack of synergy between the diaspora, more specifically Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, NIDO, and the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM. Now, NIDO worked very hard to ensure that NIDCOM came to be. And that having happened, up until today, there are very strong indications that NIDCOM is actually not, performing as expected. I will give one specific example and leave it at that. 2 years after NIDCOM was established through an act of parliament, its board has not been constituted. As of today, there is a one-man board of NIDCOM by Abike Dabiri-Erewa, the chairperson. The other members that are supposed to provide the oversight function for NIDCOM are actually not in place. And that actually means that, NIDCOM is operating below capacity. There is no oversight function. And more importantly, I think it can largely be said that NIDCOM exists by name, but legally speaking, it is not in existence, because for that to happen, it has to, abide by its Establishment Act, and that is not the case as of today. So that means that the, linkage that is meant to happen between the diaspora and NIDCOM, particularly the lead organization, NIDO, is conspicuously missing, and that's a big issue.
Absolutely, it is. And I just wish we could talk more about that, and especially on the issues around diaspora voting and just participation in politics back home. But I'm sure we'll have you again to talk more on that, because it is now a big issue as the political season continues. Thank you so much for talking to us, Collins Nweke.
For having me, Precious.